Hello everyone, how are you all? Hello, am I audible? Can we start the session? Today we are going to discuss about if and if else. The syntax of if statement is if condition. If the condition is met or is true, we'll execute this statement. If the condition is not met, we will execute the statements. Let's see with an flowchart. For example, if we take x equal to y as the condition, if the condition is true, oh, sorry. And let's take an example with flowchart. Today we are discussing about if else block. If the if we use if condition, if the condition is met, we will execute this code, and not met, else block will be executed. Let's take an example with the flowchart. If we take the condition as x equal to y, if the condition is true, then it will print equal. Just we are taking, it has to print equal. And if the condition is false, it has to execute else block. That means it has to print not equal. Let's see with an example. Before that, let me tell you how to organize data. Here I am creating a new folder with the name of online batch. In that I am creating new folder. We can also make it using shortcut Control Shift N. In that I am taking evening batch. In that I am creating other folder called module 1. And in that I am creating a folder with today's date. In that folder I am saving the files. And now And now I'm saving it with if.py. And now let's see. For example, if I am taking x equal to 5 and y equal to 10, and I am checking the condition. If x equal to y, it has to print equal. Else, if x is equal to y, it will execute this block of code. And if x is not, that means if this condition is not satisfied, it will execute else block. Print not equal. Let's see by running the program. It is printing not equal because 5 is not equal to 10. And if I change this y also as 5, then it will print equal. Because here this condition is false. That's why it is executing else block. And in second, that means x equal to 5 and y equal to 5, they both are equal. That's why this condition is true and this is executing the first block. Let's take other example. If you are taking temperature or either we can take um, if the temperature our condition is we can take temperature from you from user, and if the temperature is greater than 20, it has to print we don't need to wear a coat or not wear a coat. Temp greater than 20, we don't need to wear a coat. Or if otherwise it has to print wear a coat. In the same way, if you want to make this condition, I am taking temperature input using input statement. Input, enter temperature. And now I want it in integer, so I am converting it into integer because input takes values as string. And I am checking the condition. If temperature greater than 20, it has to print not wear a coat. Otherwise, it has to print wear a coat. Now I'm just running this code and I'm giving temperature as 30 and it is printing Oh, greater than registry was this. If it is oh, right. Yes, the temperature is greater than 20. 30 is greater than 20. So it is printing not to wear a coat. And if I input other, which is less number 2, then it is displaying wear a coat because this condition is not satisfied. That's why it is executing else block. And if we write other condition here, and if we run the code, and I am giving temperature as 40, it is printing hello and not very code because these two print statements is indented. That means they are inside each block. So they both will print if this condition is met. Can you try other, will you try this example? For example, if I am taking even or odd, or like simply take battery check status. Take battery percentage from user, and if the battery percentage is greater than 20, it has to print battery level is sufficient. Otherwise, it has to print low battery. Can you try this program? Hello, am I audible? Hello, will you try this program? I'm pasting it in the chat. Please share your screen and uh, or if you just or if you just tell me what to write here. I'm taking battery and then what should I do now? How can I get input from user? Hello. Yes, input. Enter battery percentage. Now, yes, we have taken variable. Next, yes. If No, in Python we don't need open parentheses. We can directly write that. If battery percentage, okay, less than 20, print, yes, low battery. And then, yes, can I write else condition in the same line or, yes. And next, uh, print, yes. No, no, no. Now we have to take equal to. And there is some problem with this code. Can you guess? No, no. In Python, we don't need semicolons and all. For conditions, we can just use colon. And we also don't need flower braces like this. We will just use colon and we will use indentation for representing the blocks. Okay. Let me execute this and then you'll understand what is the problem with this code. Okay. I'm giving it as 15. It is giving an error. See what is that error? It is type error. Not supported instances of string and int. That means what is the problem? Here, here we are taking always input takes string as the input. If even we give or let's say, here we are thinking that we are passing an integer input, but input function always takes input as string. We have to convert it into integer. And how can we convert it into integer? Do you have any idea? I just want to convert the input into integer. For that, we use int function. If we place int method for input, and we can write like this, or okay, first I will show you this one. I'm giving this as 20 and it is displaying low battery. In the same way, if you feel this is difficult to type, then you can do one thing. Battery percentage and we are converting it into int. That means battery percentage is equal to int of battery percentage. In this way also we will write, but we are using here, it will be, I mean, it is more efficient. We can also write like this, 50. Battery level is sufficient. But other than using this, if we use in here, it will reduce the code and taking it as 15. So it is displaying as battery. Let's take other simple example. Hmm. For example, I am checking it even or odd. If the number is even or odd, I will take input from user. For example, I am taking n equal to int of input, enter any number. And here I am checking if n is even. That means if n modulus 2 equal to 0. Uh, Here modulus hmm, issue- fine. For example, if we take division, it will print 2.5. But modulus always print remainder. That means if we take 5 by 2, it will print, oh, sorry, 5 modulus 2. It will print 1 because 5 is not divisible by 2. 2 2s are 4 and 1 is the remainder. If we take 4 modulus 2, it will print 0 because here the remainder is 0. Will you understand the modulus operator? We have already discussed it in previous classes also. Yes. Now I will print n is even or f, I am using f string and printing n is even. Else I am printing n is odd. And now I am running the program. I'm just giving 5 here. What will be the output? Can you guess the output of this code? Yes, yes, you are right. Um, and next, and after that, we are going to discuss about nested conditions. Condition inside condition are called nested conditions. In that, we are discussing about nested if condition. And the syntax of this is if condition is met, we have to check other condition. If both the conditions met, we have to execute this code. If the second condition is not met, we have to execute this code. If the first condition is not met, then we have to execute this code. That means, let's see with a flowchart. Here we have only two conditions. Uh, if x equal to y, s, let's take the same example. Here we are again checking x equal to y. If s, it has to print equal. If no, it has to check other two conditions. Like, let's say it has to check whether x is greater than y. If x is greater than y, it has to print x is greater. Oth- Otherwise, it has to print y is greater. In the same way, we will write the code. Mm. Here I am taking a new file and I'm taking the same example. I'm taking some random value for x 10 and for y. I'm taking 15 and I'm writing like if x equal to y, it has to print equal. X and y are equal. Else, if this condition is not satisfied, I am checking for other condition. That means if x greater than y, it has to print x is greater. If this condition is not satisfied, it has to print y is greater. That means first it will check this condition. 10 equal to 15. It is false. So it will go to else block. In else block also we have other if condition. That is if x greater than y. No, this is also false. So it will execute this else block. Print y is greater. So this will print y is greater. But here we have to mainly focus on indentation. For this we have basically indentation consists of four spaces. And here this is inner statement of else block. So it has four space indentation. And this is inner statement of if block. So it has to be four spaces for, it has to leave four spaces after if block. In the same way, for example, if we execute this code, nested, if we execute this code, it will print y is greater because it checked that x is not equal to y. That's why this condition is not met, and has it is executing else block. In else block, it is checking that x greater than y. And this condition is also false. That's why it is printing else block. Y is greater. Did you understand this? Or can I repeat the same thing?